That was Eddie Hall, 2017 World's Strongest Man, deadlifting 500 kilograms, or for you Americans, 1,102 pounds. As some of you may have noticed, he's white, and this leads me to my question. Why are all strongman competitors white? And more so, Northern European? And with myself being white with ancestry from Northern Europe, can I expect myself to gain 310 pounds and become the world's strongest man? We can see that strongmen are all tall, with the average height of a competitor being 6'2" and the tallest being 6'8", it allows them the opportunity to stack on much more size and therefore muscle mass than the average man with a height of 5'6". If you look where in the world has the tallest population, we see spikes in Northern Europe and America, which is exactly where the world's strongest men are from. There are many myths about Northern Europeans having Viking blood in them, such as Hafthor Julius Bjornsson and Magnus Magnusson. This Viking blood, also known as the Hercules gene, allows them to have a better genetic potential than the rest of the world. The Hercules gene works by limiting your myostatin, which is a protein that tells your body to stop making muscle. So with a deficiency in myostatin from the Hercules gene, your body will allow much more muscle growth. However, if you look at the genes of strongman competitors, you find zero traces of the Hercules gene, and their genetics are pretty much no different than someone else around the world besides for their height. So if the Northern Europeans don't have any special genetics and are just slightly taller, why do they dominate the strongman scene? Well, there's a couple big reasons why Northern Europeans dominate the strongman. First off, let's talk about their culture. While most countries were developing sports like basketball, soccer, and baseball, Northern Europe was busy picking up heavy stones. These events go way back, and strength has always been a major part of their cultural identity in places like Iceland, Norway, and Scotland. In Iceland, lifting stones was a way to prove your worth as a man. If you couldn't lift the big stone, well, you were stuck with chores like cleaning fish instead of sailing off to a raid, or whatever Vikings did. And that tradition of strength never really went away. Today, in places like Iceland, strongman is like a national pastime. Competitions are held all the time, and everyone knows the names of their top athletes. I mean, can you imagine in the US? Hey, did you catch John at the local Atlas Stone lift last week? Nope, we're not talking about football. Over there, they're talking about who can deadlift half a truck. Another thing we have to remember is wealth. Northern Europe has a significantly higher GDP compared to many other parts of the world, particularly lower income regions like parts of Africa or Southeast Asia. This means more resources, better nutrition, and, importantly, access to state-of-the-art training facilities. In Northern Europe, gyms are everywhere. You can walk down the street and find a fully equipped facility that's perfect for training like a strongman. Compare that to lower income areas where gyms might not even exist or are poorly equipped, and you can see how this is a huge advantage for the Northern Europeans. How do you expect to compete at the highest level when you don't even have access to the right tools? Now imagine living in a place where lifting stones in the wilderness isn't just a tradition, but it's also a national sport, and you have access to a top-tier nutritionist and world-class facilities. That's the reality for many of these Northern European athletes. It's not just about natural strength, although they have plenty of that. It's also about the infrastructure to build and maintain that strength. And this infrastructure makes a huge difference when strongman is part of the culture and you've got the resources to train. It's no wonder these athletes dominate the scene. In places where resources are more scarce, like parts of Africa or South America, potential strongmen may never get the chance to develop their full potential. And after all, it's hard to train for the world's strongest man when your local gym might not even have a dumbbell. Ultimately, the dominance of Northern Europeans in strongman competitions come down to a combination of factors: taller average height, access to better training resources, and a culture that celebrates strength like a national sport. When you mix all of that together, you get some seriously strong people. So will I ever gain 310 pounds of muscle and become the next world's strongest man? Probably not. But it's not because I'm not Viking enough. It's because it takes more than strength. It takes the right environment, the right culture, and let's be real, the right funding.